All right, here's a variation of a even coverage, meaning too high, that is called clamp. And what's essentially happening is the defense is saying, we want to divide the field right here. We're going to play 10 on 10, running our base coverage on the inside, and we're going to lock up on the outside. And you can see from the corner's alignment, and if you just watch the bottom corner for a second, you see how he plays this guy here. He's clearly man inside leverage as he runs in. He chases that all the way down. He is not part of any sort of zone coverage that's operating on the inside here. And this is called clamp. What clamp is doing is it's taking this guy and making him the new corner over number two. It's trying to get these two players to basically eliminate themselves. And now you can play whatever even style coverage you wanted to play here, whether you're cover two, cover four, or split field coverage of some sort. So you could play two clamp, four clamp, and you're basically just playing it 10 on 10. Now you can also notice in clamp how this guy has an easy release here because he's got a safety over him, and the overhang player is now the corner in the way that we just talked about it. So that does put pressure on the mic to expand out to three. And you can see here initially he does that right now. Whether it's cover two or cover four, he's going to have pressure on him to get to number three, especially three vertical initially or three out. Now, TCU was pretty heavy on some of their lock calls, meaning when they decided they were going to lock a corner. So, and that also means you got to lock a safety or adjust the other assignments, in turn. So here there's no number two, so the corner locks number one on the backside. But it's pretty easy to see here. You still get that same cover four look with a lock over here. You can see him zone turn that and turn inside to it. Watching the new corner, the nickel corner, if you will, while this guy's locked in man, you can see him pass things off. Now he's actually chasing it. The routes have established themselves, so they're locking into their cover four assignments. Again, TCU was pretty heavy on how they ended up locking their cover four and their match systems here. If you want to take advantage of clamp, right, that means you got a Will on the backside who's free to go right now based on the way they're running the clamp. But that means the Mike's got a lot of pressure on him to cover three vertical as well as the middle of the field. So two on the in cut becomes a problem for them, and it's an easy completion. Personally, as an offensive coordinator, clamp doesn't really concern me. There's a lot of ways, I think, to break clamp and a lot of unusual spaces and yardages that defense have to cover. The problem is it's not that common a coverage. This is not an easy clip to find, to be honest, of a team playing clamp. I've watched this game, two or three times, and there's not more than, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 snaps of clamp. It's not that common. So if you know it's coming, then yeah, it's not that hard to pick it apart. But if it's not, something that you expect to happen, in your 3-by-1 set, then it can throw you for a loop because it's got different assignments, and you're locking one, and then you're getting an outside leverage potential player on number two from the overhang, and the safeties are able to walk down inside and narrow the field a little bit. So it has advantages if you call it, and have kind of a little bit of an element of surprise, if you will. So there's a relatively rough example of clamp. The things that in clamp are a little bit more characteristic normally was you would normally see this guy be a little bit further down and outside and kind of angled in. That's a strong indicator, and this guy a lot of times presses on the outside in clamp. So those would be other things that you might want to look for if you're seeking out a team that's running unusual 3-by-1 coverage and you're wondering if it's clamp or not. So TCU tended to play a little bit further off in this game, play it from 4, and then they would match routes after they released vertically. So there's a quick note on clamp.